Welcome to Phase 5. Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. So, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania is movie number 31 in the Marvel Cinematic Universe and the first movie and installment in its Phase 5 part of the multiverse saga. In regards to the canon MCU overall, it's the 40th installment, congrats on that, and it's the third Ant-Man movie. So in this movie, after the events of Avengers Endgame and Loki Season 1, Scott Lang, Ant-Man, is living the good life. He's relishing in his fame after having saved the world, but his daughter Cassie, who is now a little older, she's a little genius, she accidentally gets the Ant family stuck in the quantum realm. The Ant family being Scott Lang, Hope Van Dyne, Hank Pym, Janet Van Dyne, and Cassie. The quantum realm we have seen before in the MCU, it's the microscopic universe beneath our own, and now we are stuck here, we gotta get home. But Kang the Conqueror is also here in the quantum realm. He wants to get out, but he's a pretty bad dude, so we probably shouldn't let him. And here we go. Now, right out the gate, I will say that this movie has noticeably raised the topic of critics versus audience opinion, because professional critics have given this movie like one of the lowest RT ratings of any MCU movie. Which did admittedly bum me out at first. I was like, oh man, this movie's supposed to be like really important to the overall multiverse saga. To hear that professional critics didn't like it that much, yeah, it's a bummer. But then a lot of people online are saying, don't listen to the critics, form your own opinion, this movie's actually pretty fun and awesome. Myself being a Marvel fan and a Marvel Cinematic Universe fan, I love being entertained by cool shit. I had a great time with this movie. Is it perfect? No, there are easily a couple of things in this movie that I can say brought the movie down a couple of notches. But comparatively speaking, those things, which I will get to later, they are minor compared to what I loved in this movie. Like Paul Rudd as Scott Lang, for example. Look, who doesn't love the guy at this point? What I particularly liked about him in this movie is that his motivations are very clear. He lost 5 years of his life while his daughter did not. So yeah, that means he missed out on a good chunk of his daughter's childhood. Can you imagine? Speaking of though, Catherine Newton, she's new to the MCU, she's playing Cassie now, and now she has her own Ant-Man suit, she is Stature, and part of me liked her performance and part of me didn't. I liked her relationship with her dad, that was the good part. You can tell they love each other, they want to be there for each other. What I thought was kind of cliche is when she was like, I want to go fight, and her dad's like, no, you can't fight because you have to be safe, I have to protect you. Yeah, I've seen that in movies and shows before. One thing that did bum me out is that Hope Van Dyne, the Wasp, not really prominent in this movie. You would think for being one of the title characters she would be, but no. That actually was a fear I had going in, and it did come to fruition. She has some really cool action scenes, and she has a couple of good moments with Scott, but it did feel like this movie pushed her from main character, like she was in Ant-Man and the Wasp, to supporting character. But folks, let's talk about what everyone is talking about when it comes to this movie. You already know, Jonathan Majors as Kang the Conqueror is awesome. Seriously, alright, how to describe him? Loki, can you help me out?
He's terrifying.
Yeah, that's the word. Thanks. This is one scary motherfucker. He's intense, he has his bad plan, and he's manipulative. We saw in the trailer that he's trying to strike a deal with Scott Lang. The way he delivers his lines, he's so, calm. But then the movie shows that he can straight up take care of business when he needs to. I don't want to say too much because I don't want to give a lot away, but I can't wait to see what Jonathan Majors does next in the MCU. And he is definitely the highlight of this movie. If there were only one highlight, there are a few, but if there was only one, if you only remembered one thing, yeah, it's him. You get what I'm saying. Now let's talk about the visual effects of this movie, because whoa. The quantum realm has never looked weirder. In fact, I'll say that this is a better Strange World movie than Strange World. All kinds of trippy shit here. You thought Multiverse of Madness had some trippy shit? Well, alright, it did. Different kind of trippy in this movie. I loved seeing everything there was to see. But people, the emotion I felt the most throughout the entire movie was fear, honestly. I was scared throughout a good 95% of this movie. Because you really feel the anxiety of wanting to get back home from this strange world. At least I did. I had that feeling of we are not supposed to be here. Let's get out of here. And then that fear got even worse when Kang stepped onto the scene. Because like I said, he's a scary dude. So add the fear of him on top of the fact that we're already somewhere we're not supposed to be and we're trying to get home. Yeah, I was feeling a lot of anxiety in this movie. Maybe I'm alone on that. I don't know. I don't really care. That was just my experience watching this. It affected me, so that's nothing but positives for this movie. I can't really say a Marvel movie has affected me like that, at least in a long time, if ever. Like, the only other Marvel movie I can think of that gave me that kind of anxiety was Days of Future Past in 2014. and that was almost 9 years ago. I know it's a different franchise, but it is still technically a Marvel movie, so I'm counting it. It got to me. But of course, this being an MCU movie, and more specifically an Ant-Man movie, there's gonna be humor. I'll tell you what though, more humor in this movie landed with me than I thought would land with me. There were actually quite a few scenes where I did laugh out loud at some of the jokes. Surprisingly so. Yeah, sure, there were some moments where the humor compromised the drama of a moment, and sometimes it did make me laugh, so it was fine. Other times it didn't, so it wasn't. There were some jokes that did not land. I was like, alright, come on, that wasn't funny. One joke in particular, towards the end, I was like, yeah, come on, this is supposed to be a dramatic moment. And even the drama of it wasn't hitting me as much, so that was kind of out the window, and then it added humor, and it just kind of made it worse. It was almost cringe at that point. I'll touch on it in my spoiler talk. My least favorite thing about this movie is that there are a couple of characters in here that were pretty much absolutely wasted. Those are MODOK, and Bill Murray is in this movie as Lord Krylar. Yeah, they were both misfires in my opinion. I'm not going to say much about them because they're not in the trailers too much, so I'll just say their characters could have been executed a lot better. As for the movie's score, it was once again composed by Christoph Beck. He wrote the scores for the other Ant-Man movies and WandaVision, not to mention the Frozen movies. For this one, I love the fact that, yes, he did bring back both themes from the preceding Ant-Man films. Ant-Man's theme from the first one and the Wasp's theme from the second one. That's great, I love continuity like that, but I didn't really pick up on a new theme for this one. There might be one, I'm not sure, I'll have to give it a closer listen. But for my first time watching this movie and hearing the score, no, I didn't pick up on one. I'm not really complaining though, I still love those themes. So the score is pretty good. It didn't blow my mind, but it was cool. So in the end, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, I had a pretty fucking good time with it. You feel scared, you feel the anxiety of just wanting to get the hell out of Dodge from this weird-ass quantum realm back to our normal, safe reality. Kang is horrifying. I thought this was a pretty solid start to Phase 5. This does move the MCU multiverse saga forward, believe you me. There were a couple of moments where I was like, that connects with that. No spoilers, but yeah. For Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, I will say, go see this movie while it's in theaters. I've given that rating to all the Ant-Man movies. I thought this one would be the one to break that mold, but oh well. So, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Have you seen it yet? What are your thoughts on it? Whatever you think, go ahead and leave a comment. And of course, thank you for subscribing. Peace!